Hey everybody, welcome back to The Loop. If you've been hanging around Mosaic Church during our weekend services, then you know that for the last 5 months, we've been studying the book of Ecclesiastes together. Now this coming weekend is our final week in this study, and like every study, when we come to the end, it feels like there is still so much more that needs to be said. And so this week here on The Loop, I want to do a recap where I highlight very clearly the 5 lessons that I hope you've learned from the book of Ecclesiastes. So let's jump in. First, I hope and I pray that this study has taught you to trust God even more than you already trust God. The book of Ecclesiastes is extremely practical, and I think most of us would agree that it has proven to be extremely helpful. It seems like the world is constantly telling us to do life one way, and then God comes along in this book and he tells us that we should be doing life in a completely different way. I think most of us would say that week after week in this study, God has challenged our thinking, and in many cases, he has redirected our lives so that we might approach the things of life in a very different manner than we have been. If that's true in your life, my hope is that you will see very clearly what God has been doing, and that will lead you to trust God even more than you already do. When you go to someone for advice over and over again, and they always steer you in the right direction, you trust them. And we should do the same with God. When someone in the world tells you one thing and God is telling you to do another thing, trust God. Solomon said it like this in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. He said, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight." If you listen carefully to what Solomon is saying, we need to trust what God is saying, but we also need to submit to what God is saying. And yet that's the rub for so many of us. Sometimes we struggle to trust God over our own thoughts or feelings, and sometimes we struggle to submit to God because we want to do it our way rather than his way. If we've learned anything from the book of Ecclesiastes that teaches us all about life, we've learned that God's ways are different than our ways, but they're also far better than our ways. And because of that, we should trust him and we should submit to him. When we do that, he promises to make our path straight.